in 73 as a voluntary organization and are now established as a trust since December 2015. Our first office was located in Nazimuddin Road, F71, in a garage donated by a well-wisher. We are now located on the mezzanine floor in Malik Complex in the Blue area, just above Dunkin' Donuts. So do visit us to get acquainted and to check out on our very small, very exclusive library. The purpose of the ASG is to create an awareness of and appreciation of the crafts, culture, arts of the Asian region in general and Pakistan in particular. The programs are listed in a monthly newsletter, and those of you that are members, you get your monthly newsletter either through the email, or if you want it through the mail, you just have to pay 200 more. And by the way, there's a special discount today. It's 4,000 rupees for the whole year. I mean, that is ridiculously nominal, but there it is. Normally it's 5,000. So become a member today and save your 1,000 rupees. The membership covers the entire family. The newsletter is sent to you in the first week of the month, usually. So the ASG is dependent on the goodwill of the community, and we'd like to thank all the organizations, institutions, outlets and individuals that support us. A special thanks to Serena Hotel for their very generous and constant support. So a big round of applause please for Serena Hotel. So the year starts out with an opening event and we wind up with a closing event. Unfortunately, we had to forego this last year because of Corona. But as I said, we are keeping our fingers crossed and we hope to continue this year. So I'm going to share the October programs with you so that you get an idea as to what we are all about. So tonight we start out our opening event. We have a presentation by Ali Khan, Rawul Pindee, the Raj Years. Then tomorrow, October 18th, we have a cuisinal tour around Southeast Asia conducted by Shanaz Barker of Coriander Connections. The demo presentation will be followed by a delicious lunch. This will include delicacies from Indonesia, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Hong Kong and Malaysia. And it has been such a thumping success that we're going to repeat this hopefully in a month's time. Then also on Sunday, October 18th at 6:15 a.m. for all those enthusiastic cyclists, they can join the cycling group for a ride to Kot Jandan. This is an off-road cycling jaunt and is done in coordination with Critical Mass. Then Monday, October the 19th, we have the launch of Charles Barker's The Marine Betrayal, the story of one woman's fight to protect the ocean's most endangered species from the predations of organized crime in South Asia. On Thursday, October 22nd, the film club will show The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, a rare film in this youth-driven area which deals with issues relating to senior citizens, a hilarious must-watch. Then, October 24th, 29th, we have a trip to Hunza, autumn in Hunza, and if you have not been to Hunza during the autumn, you're really missing out on something special. It is absolutely beautiful. So take advantage of this opportunity, and if you've been there before, just indulge again. Sunday, October 25th, to wind up October, there is a hike to the Shah Aladita Ridge, a trail slightly off the beaten track. You will also get an opportunity to visit a couple of archaeological sites in the area. As you can see, it's a jam-packed calendar. And this is really just, I mean, there are many subgroups that are not being represented in this. So hopefully, as time goes on, we will have all the subgroups catering to you. So these programs are organized for you by our volunteer coordinators. I want you to know that the Asian Study Group is really truly a voluntary organization because everybody is a volunteer that is on it, apart from the office manager. So for special programs, Alia Mansoor, Shawar Mohsen, Sophia Becker, Amber Pervez, Paul Lundberg. Photography, Ali Hanjra and Dr. Shaukat Malik. And here I'd like to give a special thanks to Ali Hanjra, who has gone out of his way to assist and advise us when we've been faced with issues. Ali, thank you. Performing arts, we have Yasser Noman. Literature, Michel Galopin, Charles Barker. Hikes, Ehtisham Ali Raja and Kamran Hashmi. Kamran Hashmi's picture, by the way, graces the cover of the ASG 2021 calendar. So collect yours from the publications table. The calendars make an excellent gift. Gardening and Botanical Walks, Naeem Kader, who also serves as advisor to the ASG. Film Club, Raza Saeed Khan. Cycling, Haroon General, Kamran Shami. Cuisine, Nabila Ijaz, Shanaz Bakar, assisted by Fawzia Mehman. Comparative Cultures, Ayman Fatima, Jahandad Khan. Arts and Crafts, Laura Whaley. Adventure Club, Aftab Rana. Sadia Zamir Akram serves as the office coordinator, and the office is manned by Sylvia Beg, who is the office manager. Sajid Munir assists with the publications. Rifat Durrani is a study group coordinator. The newsletter secretary is Ikhlaqur Rahman. He is assisted by Yasir Mukhtar, who also looks after the website. The legal advisors are Saliha and Ali Butt, and the vice president is Michelle Galopin, and she's out of the country right now. So a big round of applause for all these wonderful volunteers. The Asian Study Group is honored and privileged to have the Spanish ambassador, His Excellency Manuel Duran Jimenez Rico, I hope I pronounced it right, as our patron for this year. I would like to invite His Excellency to welcome you and introduce the guest presenter for the evening.
So, dear friends, welcome again. This time I welcome you as a new patron for the 2020-2021 period or season or whatever you might call it. You pronounce my name perfectly well. I know it's very complicated. It's a privilege to be part of this group and to be the patron. I want to thank you very much, Perveen Malik, for including me in this project. As soon as I arrived in Pakistan, some of my collaborators who are here, by the way, big fans of the Asian Study Group, told me about the group. They told me they had attended one of your wonderful events, and immediately I became a member. And also I remembered to participate in a gastronomic.
Can't hear you.
Ah?
Higher.
Is it better now? Is it better?
Yes, much.
Okay. I also remember participating in a gastronomic event related with Spanish cuisine.
Yes.
It was wonderful. The participants created a variety of dishes that were identical to the ones one can have in the streets of Madrid or Seville. And yes, I think that this project is magnificent, and I'm very happy to support it. Today we are going to assist to the presentation of this beautiful book called Rawul Pindee, The Raj Years by Ali Khan. And I wanted to, apart from thanking you for being here, the turnout is incredible, by the way. Congratulations to the organizers, because we have managed to summon a bunch of people here, which is great. Ali Khan, among other things, is an expert in tennis. We have been talking about Nadal and Manolo Santana and a bunch of Spanish tennis players. He's been a columnist as well, but the most important thing is that he has written this beautiful book full of images. You can, if you like it, you can buy it here, about Rawul Pindee, collecting images and photographs and newspaper articles from about Rawul Pindee from the 19th century even. And I'm really excited because I've been browsing the book and it looks wonderful. And yes, this is the opening of the season. As you know, the Asian Study Group organizes a myriad of things. You've just got through Perveen an example of the amount of things they organize. And I hope you will enjoy this presentation. I want to welcome Ali Khan to do the presentation, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Excellency, Ambassador of Spain, other diplomats, ambassadors, Dr. Praveen Malik, fellow Pindeites, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's It's such a pleasure to attend this August gathering organized by the Asian Study Group and Praveen Malik. Many of us in the audience are what are now known as Pindi boys. Some of us have reached the metallic age, which is silver in our hair, gold in our teeth, and lead in our feet. But even now, we find ourselves inexorably drawn to our hometown. Tonight's gathering is a celebration of our hometown consisting of a multimedia discussion about Rawalpindi, the Raj years, a voyage through the mists of time. That also happens to be a book that I have put together. This is the second edition of the book that has been appreciated worldwide and has many improvements and additions. So without further ado, let's move on to the presentation. It should take about half an hour. We will then take a few questions and discussions. Okay, go on. So this is how Rawalpindi used to be written. In the 1860s, 1870s, this was the spelling, and then it slowly evolved to what the Rawalpindi is now, and it's affectionately called, very safe. It's a bit more crowded now, but it still has remnants of the past. So we're going to take you back to the 19th century, and then we'll also show you what it is now. So it's okay. So here we go. Okay, a lot of the pictures that were taken in this presentation were taken by Hal Waters. And his father was the headmaster of the station school, Rawalpindi Station School. It used to be called the European School from 1887 to 1912. He had a Browning, Kodak Browning sort of camera, but he used to develop his own pictures, and he left behind a time capsule of what life was like at that time, something we had never seen before the internet came. Okay, this is the Waters family. The father is the Jack Waters. The mother is Evie, and that's Hal sitting there, and you'll see back there a gardener is obviously posing for the picture with a water fountain, which is hardly any change in that. If you buy a water fountain, it's going to be just like that one. Now, Evie died a few months after this, in January 1900, and her son-in-law, Hal's son-in-law contacted me saying, look, it's been 100 years since my Evie died. We want to know if her grave is still there. So one Sunday, I took my camera and took some pictures. And this is the original picture that he sent me. And this was Evie, the wife of Jack Waters. But the interesting thing is that I couldn't find the grave. They're in the Harley Street graveyard, the graves are according to the year. And I looked and I couldn't find it. And as I was about to leave, I found a grave next to a tree that had grown maybe as high as these trees over the 100 years. And when we cleaned it, this was the grave. So I sent them a picture, and they said, have you seen the date on your picture? So it was January 16th, 2000, about 20 years from now. And he said, check the date on the grave. It was January 16th, 1900. I mean, it was just a fantastic coincidence that 100 years to the day, we found Evie's grave, and you'll see this rose bush from the 100 years ago. It's now black with age. It was still there, and so we did find it. I sent it, and then he sent me all of Hal's pictures in return, and we put it together as this presentation. So this is the station school today. Many of you may have attended this school. It was a very high quality school. It used to be called the Station European School. Now, This is 1899, and this is school tableau. I've had these pictures digitally colored, and it just brings an entirely different outlook to them. It looks like you're there. You know, the black and white really doesn't do justice to, and these are pretty close to the actual colors, you know, because they knew the flags and everything. So you will see children of all ages, of you know, different colors. There were Indians, all sorts of, you know, from all walks of life. And look at the beautiful way they have colored the stage and everything. Next. Okay, this is also from the same function. This is a girl dressed as Little Miss Muffet, and she's got her curtain way, and there's that black spider hanging with a thread behind her. It's quite nicely done. Okay, there's physical training going on. In the rear, you will see a wagon, and you'll see parallel bars. We used to have parallel bars like this in our school in St. Mary's, so they may still be around. You never know. They used to make things much better in those days, it seems. Next. The station school hockey team. Now, the guy with the big mustache is Jack Waters, the principal. The one on his left is Hal. And the one on the left, the soldier with one stripe, is the physical trainer or something. This is one of the oldest churches in Pindi. Christ Church. It's behind the Pearl Continental Hotel. This picture was taken in 1888. The walls are much higher now, and the gate is in a different place, but it's still very well maintained. This is also a turn of the century Christ Church, and this is it now. On the left, you'll see the Pearl Continental Hotel, so you know where this is. Inside this church, there was in the 19th century something called the Trigonometric Survey of India. They triangulated all of India and extremely accurately with using chains. And in fact, Everest was one of the people involved in it. And they were so accurate that with satellite imagery, they found that they were within a fraction of a percentage point of what it is now. Okay, this is the Church of Scotland. It used to be called the Church of Scotland. It is on the mall, right across from Flashman's Hotel. And you can see the mall was not paved. Paved roads had not emerged. I think they emerged in the 1920s. This was in 1905. This was, and on the left of it was a statue of Queen Victoria. That is now, I think, in the British High Commission. Next. And this is it now. I think the coloring leaves a bit to be desired on this. Yeah. Okay, next. This is the Swan River. The two rivers are merging. The bridge, the nearer bridge is the Leh Bridge, and the one is the Swan Bridge. And back in the distance, you will see another bridge. If you can see it, it's very difficult to locate it. It's a bit to the right of this bridge. That may have been the train bridge, because the original train that went from Lahore to Pindi went through the ordnance depot, which was the Lahore fort, and past the Kacheri. It's a different route. The route was changed. I don't know when it was changed, but that was the original route. And so it's amazing the amount of history this place has. I mean, everybody, even Genghis Khan came within 30-40 miles of here. He stopped at the Indus River, but all the rest, Timur, Amir Timur, and Alexander the Great, they all came through here and may have watered their horses on these rivers. This is another bridge on the Leh River. Next. You can see the water is clean. The lay, it's improving now, but it has become in a very bad way, a sewage drain. And you see the horses being watered. This is 1900. Again, Leh River with a Dhobi Ghat. This is in behind a U Park. The Dhobi Ghat no longer exists. You'll see a man standing there on the left, top left. They tried to restore Leh in 1923, but there's no real evidence of it. You can see the trains going on the left. This is Topi Park. It's a canopy now. Now that it's made out of stone, but I seem to remember this canopy, and there's somebody sitting there with his solar hat on. Next. This is the hill on which the Rawul Pindee Golf Club is located now. Again, this is the road going through Topi Park. This is all turn of the century. Next. This is the Queen's statue. It's in the British High Commission. The sculpture was a man called James Gardner out of London, and the marble was Italian marble, and there were two of these made, and they were shipped out. One is in Pindi, and I don't know where the next other one is. You'll see it, and you will see that the globe and the scepter are broke off because this was removed. From the plinth, and it lay in the civil lines area. It lay on its side, so maybe that's where the globe and the plinth scepter broke off. There's a couple of soldiers walking. This is all around 1900. That behind it is the Pindi Club cricket ground, and in the rear are the Victorian size type bungalows behind of the Pindi Club. And here we have another view. It's a church that we saw, and there's a Queen's statue. Another view with the GHQ in the background. This is the Pindi Club cricket pavilions. The one on the right became the Army Central Library, but initially it was a pavilion. We didn't know that until we saw this picture. On the left is a pavilion, cricket pavilion, but it's no longer this pavilion. When you look, it's a different type of roof on the pavilion on the left. And in the middle is a swimming pool, which has now been turned into a parking lot. Next. The Pindi Club, 1905 or 1901 is the side entrance. So Pindi Club was the social heart of Pindi for the Kohsaars. Kohsaars was a term used for the British. I once met a man in England at a sporting event. This is about 2000, year 2000, and there was a rain, and we were sitting having tea, and he said, "I'm an old Kohsaar." And I said, "What does that mean?" He says, I served in India in the 1920s. So I found out that Kohsaar was the first word learned by the British, and it's even used now. When you go somewhere, you say Kohsaar. So they were known as Kohsaar because they would say that's the first word they would learn. Kohsaar.
What does that mean?
Next. Again, the Pindi Club, there's a band and some children there. This is it now. It's improved considerably. This is an old picture. They have rebuilt it just like in the old pictures. It's really beautiful to see. I should have taken a... This is the Pindi Mall in front of the Pearl Continental Hotel in the late 1880s, mid to late 1880s. You'll see the road is, you'll see that horses have been on the road, there's a footpath, and there's a boy standing next to the lamp post with I think his ayah or his minder standing a respectful distance. This is before the Christ Church or or the Queen's statue were installed. The Queen's statue was put up there in 1905, and most probably by when the Prince of Wales and Queen Mary visited, it was George and Queen Mary, they visited Pindi in December 1905 for the Rawul Pindee. There was a parade and military exercises. So it's quite possible that King George inaugurated the statue. Next. This is the Pindi Mall. This is the corner of the mall and Dalhousie Road. It used to be Dalhousie Road, now it's Kashmir Road. Dalhousie was the Governor General of India. Before 1857, they used to be Governor Generals and they became Viceroys when the British government took over the East India Company. Very peaceful. Next. This is another view of the mall. And this is it now. Essentially the same place. Now this is the road to Murray Hills, and this is quite a dramatic picture, and it tells us a lot about the road. As you see, has been watered. They used to have bullock carts with with a tank in it and with holes in it, and they would water. You can see the road has been watered. It's early in the morning from the shadows, and you'll see people are wearing warm clothing. So it's a winter morning. On the right, there is a camel caravan, and if you look way back, you will see a man on a white horse. He's probably in charge of this. It's a military caravan, and there's people walking to their work. It's quite a revealing picture, I would think. And this was taken from the top of the railway bridge on Marir Chowk. So there is a Murray Road looking towards Liaquat Bagh. Next. I think now you'll see the man in the white horse. We've blown it up a bit. You can see the man in the white horse. Next. And these people walking to work early in the morning, quite peaceful. You will see, this is it now, essentially. And you will see that you would not see anybody without something on their head. They would wear either a pagri or a hat or a cap, depending on what was their background. This guy on the bottom left seems to be carrying his lunch with him. He's wearing a military uniform. Next. Okay, we've seen this. This is the corner of the mall. The mall is on the right between the two trees, and this is Dalhousie Road, Kashmir Road. And you'll see Nabi Baksh and Sons fishing tackle, and this is now the Kent Plaza, the Cantonment Plaza. There it is. Okay. This was the Freemasons Hall. This was the Freemasons Hall, and then it became I think the National Council of Arts Arts Council. And these two pillars are still there, these two columns. There they are, but you can barely see them, and it's just so many more people. You'd be surprised to know that on the right of this, between this and the post office, there was a train station. It was a road train, it had broad wheels. And it used to go from Pindi, from the post office.
Speak into the mic.
It used to go from Pindi, behind the post office, to Attak, near the Attak Fort. And they say it used to go as fast as the trains on the rails. And they still, okay, this is a Freemasons Hall. It's a Canning Road on the side. Next. This is Edwards Road, Bank Road. It's around 1915. But I can't place it, actually. It's hard to place this. This is the Plaza Cinema. This was the Lions Cinema before, and when the Prince of Wales, Edward, visited Pindi in 1922, I think he re-inaugurated because they found a plaque saying inaugurated by the Prince of Wales. This is a very popular cinema, but it's gone through hard times now because cinemas, people now watching movies online. General Lockhart was a general of the British Army. He died in 1900, and they built this monument for him. On his son also, there was a general called Rob Lockhart, I think Major General. So this is very hard to place it because the surroundings have changed so much. This is in the Rumi Park across from MH Hospital, for those who know Pindi. It's still there. There it is. And right next to its base is one of the trigonometric survey points where they were measuring the trigonometric survey in the 19th century. This is the Lansdowne Institute. It was also known as the Najghar. There were a lot of institutes built for the railway employees. The railway employees were mostly Anglo-Indians, and they would come and they would enjoy themselves. They would have dances. They have a swimming pool near, remnants of a swimming pool, but it's now become a school and then a college. Okay, this sign is on the GT road. It's like if you're looking from here, on the left is a Topi Park, a U Park. On the right, the road, the arrow, the finger pointing towards Morga, which is Attic Oil Company. Right there. Next. This is the market. For the vegetable and meat market. It's still there, but it's very hard to recognize it. It was built in 1880. It's this now because there's a lot of construction in front of it. Next. This was built through a donation by Sardar Sujan Singh. I think he paid 200,000 rupees for its construction. This is the military accounts office. It's still there. Even that ladder is still there. It's a wooden ladder. The military accounts office. It's now the Ministry of Defense. This is Sadr, Pindi Sadr, Massey Gate area. And but the thing to see is that you can see the mountains. I mean, the visibility is so good that the mountains are 10 miles away. And there was very little pollution, it seems. This is it now. Okay, this is taken from on top of the Massey Gate. There was a commissioner of Pindi called Massey, or I can't really say for sure, but this huge stone gate was built, and there was on top of the gate was a library. From which window they would take these pictures. This is the Sadr. This is an earlier picture of the same location. Another. And this turned into the GHQ that we have, the General Headquarters. This is Hathi Chowk, that means the Elephant Square. I think there was a roundabout in there with the statue of an elephant, but there are other stories that Ranjit Singh used to get on his elephant from there, but a lot of legends. Another, this is Chhota Bazar. This is a small bazaar right near Hathi Chowk. There's the Massey Gate. It was torn down in the mid-60s. And I don't know why, but the Massey Gate was the entrance to the Sadr Bazaar. The area near Bank Road was not a bazaar. There were a lot of houses in those days. This is a soldier's home. There was a Mrs. Sand. She was an Irish woman. She was quite wealthy, and she built these soldiers' homes all over India and perhaps some other countries. This was built in 1896. There's a soldiers' home in Murray, which is now a school. This is a soldiers' home today. It's now, I think, the CSD office now. This is the post office, the original post office. and behind it was the train that used to go to Attak. And then they changed it to this. This was built maybe in the 1910. I think the original was better. This is the post office. Okay. And this we've seen this. Yeah, this okay. This was the race course, Pindi race course, and this also in the 1920s it was Pindi airfield. This is where aeroplanes used to land. You circle it. There's the polo ground today. Ordnance office. Okay. This is the military barracks in Westridge. Westridge was another separate, I would say it was a separate cantonment. This was the road to the cemetery. The cemetery, this is the Raja Bazar. Yeah, this road goes to the Harley Street Cemetery. There was one, when you go to the Harley Street Cemetery, there's a little road on the right that says Range Road. In which there are some very old graves, probably 1849, 1850s, because in 1849 there was a battle, couple of battles. There was Battle of Chiliya, the Second Sikh War in there, the Chiliawala near Jhelum. There's a big monument there. You can visit it. It's fantastic history. There should be historic tourism here. It would be unbelievable. And the Chiliawala monument is there, and right next to it, in fact, where the monument is, it overlooks the area where Alexander fought against Porus. Where the monument, the Chiliawala monument is probably where Porus, because it's at height, is where Porus is possible he might have had his tent or nearby. And so the two battles are they almost the same place. The Raja Bazar used to be known as the Raja Wala Bazar. Wala use the term, the British used to use the term. Again, Raja Bazar. Next. The Rawul Pindee city. Okay. This is the station. This is 1885 when the railway came to Pindi and the whole army was to the right. You'll see a lot of the soldiers there lined up. The Viceroy, Lord Aitchison, was coming to inaugurate the train station, and you see the six-sided star. You'll see a lot of these stars all over in the old building. You'll see these stars, and I don't think it has any religious significance. The Pindi Station. Interior of the station. Now, this was a parade held in Pindi for the Prince of Wales, and it in such detail that every tree is mapped out. And this is the Southern Bank Road area, and you'll be interested to know, I found through this map that the Babu Mahalla, the famous Babu Mahalla of Pindi, used to be known as the Shoshi Bhushan Street. And it became Babu Mahalla because when the military accounts office came to Pindi, all the Babus from Calcutta who were in the military accounts office in Calcutta, they came and they settled in the Mahalla. It became the Babu Mahalla. So, and this map, if we can go back to the map, it's in such detail that there were a lot of places. I would read TC, and I couldn't figure it out. Then I went to the place, the Pindi Club, and I knew where there were tennis courts. And I looked and it said TC, so I knew that it meant tennis court. And in 1900, there were about 60 tennis courts in Pindi. Almost every house had a tennis court. Much fewer now. Okay, this is a newspaper that I discovered. And it's a complete paper. In the book, it's a complete paper. I just want to give you a glimpse of it. This is 1918, and April 1918, and they're talking about the battle, about the Somme, and about the World War I battles, and the latest telegrams. This very fascinating newspaper. It's in the book, the whole of it. I'm just showing you a couple of pages. Like this is the ad for Dunlop rubber and all, you know. Okay, next. Oops. This is another map. It shows, what it shows is actually the way I put it here, because it shows where the original railway line went through. It went through the fort from near the jail and went straight to the Pindi Station. One of the stations was Kacheri, which is still is a Kacheri. Again, that's good. Next. Next. Okay, we're done.
As I heard, you're a Pindi boy, and as a foreigner, I'm interested, what would you recommend to visit nowadays in Pindi?
Well, I just go there and absorb the culture. It has a unique, you know, it has military, civil culture. You'll see a lot of old shops and a lot of little bazaars and nooks and crannies. Just walk around. It's quite safe. Go with, you know, go dressed like a bit, you know, like us, and go with some friends. You'll enjoy meeting the shopkeepers. It's the people, actually. I think, you know, I mean, the mall road is a mall road, you know, and maybe have somebody show you these old buildings, the churches. I even tracked down the Flashman Hotel owner, you know, and his great-grandchildren sent me some pictures. They're all in the book. There's a lot more in the book that there's not enough time to show.
Okay, thank you.
A couple of years ago, many years ago actually, when things were a little better, we have Shanaz Jafar over here. I don't know where she is. Shanaz, where are you? There she is. She did a wonderful trip for us to Pindi, and we went to all the little bazaars and the nooks and crannies, and we visited the homes of Hindus who had left at partition time, and it was fascinating, the tile work and the balconies, and, you know, walking through those little narrow alleyways. So hopefully if things settle down, Corona settles down and there's security, maybe next year, you never know, we could work out a trip. And that was a wonderful trip actually. I think we ended up having a picnic in the Ayub Park, if I remember. Yeah. Any other questions? Any comments over there? Sergeant?
Thank you for the wonderful presentation, Ali.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're a Pindi boy. Tell us your thoughts.
Questions, but I'll ask you. Pindi, born Pindi, about this time, 70 years, 68 years ago. Anyway, I just wanted to ask you. I've been doing the Margala trails and all since I came back from the United States, and a couple of my very dear friends here, they know more about the natural habitat here than I certainly didn't know about it, and most people that I know about. They know about when there were leopards here and how many there are now and how many kinds of birds and all of that. And they were asking me, maybe Uncle would tell us about what was the natural habitat here like. One question was that before Ayub National Park, it was called Topi Rak, I think.
Yeah.
So what does Topi Rak mean? That's one.
They still use the term Rak in places.
What does Rak mean?
It's like a
well, it would have been interesting
wilderness.
to see the etymology, but also they were interested because until very recently there were tigers, you know, like 100 years ago, there's definitely more wildlife. So were there any tigers, lions as far as Ayub Park and Swan Valley? I'm sure there were.
Well, Babur, the Mughal, he hunted rhinoceros.
Yeah.
You know, about 50, 60 miles towards Peshawar, he hunted rhinoceros.
That's right.
So
I was going to say that. And he has a whole story about sailing in the Swan River and having a lot of opium. And,
I think Babur swam across every river that he was a tough guy.
If you would let me, I would say people who are interested in really getting the flavor of Pindi, they should see Sadr and Mall Road and all those places. But the really easy thing is to get on the metro hop on Committee Chowk, which is the heart of the city, and then walk into Bandi Chowk, and then go around there. You'll see old debilitated Havelis of Sardar Sujan Singh there. And there are trees going into haunted places really. And into Raja Bazar, you just walk there, have a shalwar kameez, get a chadar on, a couple of things, and then just maybe have a local itself, they can tell you these. And those alleys are really haunted, fascinating. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you, Amir.
Can I invite the ambassador to please come up and say a few words of thanks to Ali? Big round of applause for Ali.
Thank you very much, Ali. Thank you very much for this fabulous presentation. But now I will, yeah, we can go together because now I see it under a different perspective altogether. So thank you for this, and thank you everybody, of course. Okay, we have something for Ali here, and thank you all for coming tonight. Really, it was very good to see such a huge turnout.
Just before we wind up, we have the wonderful Asg Calendar at the back, 2021. And what we have is every year we have a competition. And members given their photographs, and we selected, the members themselves select the photographs. So we have certificates for the prize winners, the first 3. And I'm just going to call their names. And this is a certificate, and there is a cash check with it as well. So for the 3rd prize, Sajid Munir. The 2nd prize, Muhammad Haroon General. Is Haroon here tonight? And the 1st prize goes to Isham Ali Raja. Isham, sorry. Where are you? There he is. This is a wonderful picture. It's one of Isham leaping from one rock to another in Panchpir. It's absolutely fabulous and very, very dangerous and not to be done again. Thank you everybody for being over here. We're really grateful that you've this wonderful turnout, and the membership is still open, publications are still open. Thank you very much. Support the Asian Study Group. Thank you very much. Thank you.